Hi everyone, I'm Lloyd from BonsaiDirect, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to care for a ficus bonsai. Now in my view it does make a lovely bonsai. It's great for indoors, suitable for beginners and very easy to look after. So why does the Ficus retusa make such a lovely bonsai? Is it because of those lovely deep green glossy leaves? They are lovely, but that's not what makes it really special. Is it the bark? The bark is beautiful with lovely colours and textures in there, but that's not what makes it really special. Well, what makes the ficus really special and different to most other bonsai are the aerial roots. These amazing roots which just start to grow from the branches or from high up the trunk and meander their way down and eventually find the soil. Look at this lovely little aerial root just starting out. That's so cool. It's a very easy bonsai to look after. It's not particularly fussy about positioning. It can live outside in the summertime, but it's not frost hardy, so bring it in. If you put it out in the garden, bring it in well before the winter starts. So somewhere where it's got some daylight, it doesn't need loads of daylight, but near a windowsill, fantastic. So let's talk about watering. Watering is the most important part of growing a bonsai. We must make sure that the soil never dries out, and that's true for all bonsai. Okay, so what we must do is to check it regularly. If the soil feels wet, we don't water. Now the ficus, it likes to be just sort of on the moist side. It doesn't like to be dry and it doesn't like to be very wet, so we're trying to keep that soil just moist. Now obviously when we water it, so let's do that. Let's grab a small watering can, and generally I sort of start around there, especially if it's a bigger tree like this one, and make sure water all over, so that from now on I know this is wet. Okay, and I'm going to keep watering it until I start to see water flow out the bottom into the drip tray. So you'll find all bonsai pots will have holes underneath to allow the water to flow through and drain out of the bottom. So if you're keeping indoor bonsai, whichever ones they are, you will need some sort of drip tray underneath the pot. So water all around. Like that. So it's not just a quick going over, I'm making sure that the soil is wet all the way around and all the way through the root ball. Like that. And then once I can see water coming out the bottom, I know that it's wet all the way through the soil. So from now on, so let's see, we've watered this. This is now late afternoon here, so we know that's nice and wet. Check it again in the morning. If it still feels wet, don't water it. Late afternoon, come home from work or for school, check it. And if it's starting to feel just kind of drying out a little bit, but not dry, then water it again. If it still feels wet, don't water it. So what you're doing is you're watering it when it needs it and not when you would like to water it. So basically it goes from wet to just damp. Now that might mean that you've got to water it twice a day. It might be twice a week, it just depends how hot it is. Okay, so keep your eye on that. Check it, nice and wet, don't water. Just becoming damp, then that's the time to water. So that's the watering sorted. The other things that you'll need to do is you will need to fertilize your bonsai. So this is our own fertilizer. This is concentrated, so a bottle this size would last a bonsai like this probably a year, I should think, possibly more. Some of the smaller ones would last longer. All the instructions are on there. We have got videos on our YouTube channel, so look that up. But this will keep your bonsai nice and healthy. All right, so that's good. So what else have we got? We have got our bonsai mist. Now this is great. This is great for humidity, especially on the figs. Okay, so once in the evening, something like that, just go around and give it a little puff over. It's not essential, but it does help. You know, it keeps the leaves nice and healthy, and it also gives a little bit of foliar feed in there as well, and it also helps to prevent things like green fly, white fly, things like that. It makes the leaves a little bit sticky and tends to deter pests. So that's great. Now when it comes to maintaining the shape of the ficus, there are a few little things which are different to some other types of bonsai. So we'll go over that now. So when it comes to pruning, we just want to maintain the shape of the pads. So trim off any long shoots coming. So what I'll do for pruning purposes, I think this one might be a little bit easier just to show you. So I'm just going to go through, trim off any longer shoots. And sometimes it might just be the very tip that we need to take out. Just the actual growing. I'll show you a close-up of that in a minute. So I'm pruning off the heavier growing shoots. They're the thick dominant ones, and this just helps to maintain the pads. Now you can see this white milky substance that starts to ooze out of where we've cut. That's perfectly normal. It is just the tree sap, and it won't do the tree any harm whatsoever. Now the fig has these lovely little growing tips here, and these will just keep growing straighter and straighter. And in order to maintain the pad, we need to just take out these little pointy bits, and that will force the back budding, force out new shoots lower down, and help us maintain the foliage pad. So the Ficus retusa really does make fantastic indoor bonsai. It's easy to care for, great for beginners and everybody, great character. Look at this roots here, coming down there, this one on here, superb. Beautiful foliage, it does come out in little berries through the summertime, that's when it reaches maturity. It's got so much going for it. I think it's a really beautiful bonsai. Take care.